Salt brine is quite simply liquid salt. We take hard rock salt, we mix it with water, and the end product is salt brine. Traditional rock salt really doesn't help us with our snow and ice operations until it turns to salt brine naturally. So that hard kernel of rock salt ends up landing on the pavement. It's hydroscopic, so you have to wait for it to draw in a little bit of moisture and then turn to salt brine, turn to a liquid where it actually either melts the snow and ice that's on the road or performs kind of a protective layer so that snow and ice doesn't bond to the road. 100% of that material stays right on the travel lane where you want it. Salt brine is made with a special brine maker. Quite simply, it's taking some hard rock salt, automatically mixing it with some water. We have some sensors, make sure it's at the proper concentration, which is 23.3%.
The same system that we use to mix the brine, we use to load the trucks. So we have a slide-in tank that goes in the back of a truck to use for pre-treat that will go out and spray the road before a storm. And all of our plow trucks have saddle tanks that we'd fill up, and that's used to pre-wet the salt as it's coming out of the back of the trucks. For pre-treat, that's when we're going to go out before the storm and we're going to spray the roads with a rig. We want to have enough time for that material to dry onto the road. That's going to help prevent the bonds from snow and ice.
We'll go out sometimes 2-3 days before an event. If we know the weather is going to be clear and dry, we'll put that salt brine on the road. The actual water will end up evaporate and you'll have that residual salt that remains right on the pavement. Salt brine does help to protect the environment by allowing us to use less salt. We've determined that there's about a 30% reduction in the amount of salt that we use on a beat compared to a traditional beat where we would just use granular rock salt.
We're using every tool that we have to try to do the best job that we can. We're using right from the hydrometer to measure the salinity for the salt brine. Our Dickie John has integrated road temp sensors in it. The cameras on the trucks are showing the forward-facing camera so we can see what the road conditions are remotely and suggest maybe backing down the salt or eliminating the salt totally.
Folks have to remember we have a legal responsibility to make sure that we can keep that road as safe as we practically can. Over the years, we've been involved with a lot of studies. We've tried many different methods and alternatives to make sure that we can meet that legal standard. And what we've determined is that salt is certainly the best material that we can use to keep that road clear and as safe as we practically can. We always train our operators. We try and use as minimal amount of salt as we can. We're always monitoring the road conditions. We've implemented a lot of technology, everything from onboard temperature sensing, subscribing to very sophisticated weather services, and again, just making sure that operator is trained enough so that they realize if there's some changing road conditions, perhaps it's an opportunity for them to use less salt.
We all live in this community. We work in this community. We're using the tools that we have to try to reduce the amount of salt that we're putting on the roads to make it as safe as possible and help protect the environment.